Hello everybody and welcome to part 16 of my God King Boudicca series. Before we get started, we are in tumultuous times and I'll get into that more in a bit, but let's go around to some cities and make some tile corrections. In Edinburgh, growth in 11, we take this away, it says growth in 12, but we want to populate the university. I'll get into that more in a second. Here, we're going to grow in one turn anyways, so moving the citizen here doesn't actually detract from anything, because when we grow, we'll pick up this tile anyways. Just a refresher, at the end of your turn, the computer tallies food, and then if it spawns a citizen, it goes by this, and then it counts up culture, faith, whatever else is on the land. So that's why we always go production focus. Let's see, Douglas. I don't know how this happened, but we should be working this tile ahead of the workshop tile, so we'll get that fixed. In Berlin, when I annexed it, I failed to put it into production focus. Luckily, in this city, this tile is both the production target and the gold, so I don't think it's actually made a difference thus far, but nevertheless, that is a correction we want to make. And it looks like everything else... Oh, no, this one too. See how it says growth in 1? Enhanced user interface is really nice, and one thing I don't think I've ever explained before is the color scheme as far as the light blue and the dark blue. The light blues, city tiles that aren't being worked or anything. The dark blue are tiles that are available to the city but are considered to be, in this case, Cork's tiles. So if we click on this once, now see how it's light blue. When we grow a citizen, we'll grow into this tile instead of that one, and we'll get 3 hammers instead of 2. And then, we can bounce back and forth, keep passing this tile off, which is kind of fun, a little bit of a min-max thing for you. And then, of course, this little infinity icon just means it's outside our borders and another city is actively working it. If you ever encounter this, just go into the other city and move the citizen if you need that tile for another city, because otherwise cleaning up after that is a bit troublesome. So anyways, the tumultuousness I was referencing is because we're continuing to expand and we're on the cusp of conquering cities. These things have a negative impact on our happiness, and growth in all of our cities has a negative impact on happiness. Caelid halls are available to us soon, so as the Celts we can grow this tile. One of the problems I enter into when I'm playing Liberty is around the time of universities, because on the one hand you want to work the university tiles, but on the other hand you don't want to stop growing. But in this case we kind of do, just because of that happiness balance that we're trying to play with. And then also there's the thing of, if your science is too low, you won't pick up new techs, which means your cities will run out of stuff, useful things to build. And you don't want that if you can avoid it. And there's never anything, such a thing as too much science, even if you're far ahead like we kind of are. So I just wanted to mention all that before we got started, but here we go. Alright, let's see here. This says it's a duplicate wine. Nobody was offering for wine last turn. I mean, we can try. The problem is sometimes I've seen this screen say there's 2 when there's only 1. And this is obviously not a refresh of a previous deal, but... Alright, denounced by Japan. They're denounced, but yeah, because they're friends, so it makes sense that they would follow one another. Now this clearly is a refresh of an old deal, so let's recalibrate it, because he should be hating on us more since we attacked Marina, but that doesn't appear to be the case. And we'd rather trade the 2 iron and 3 gold, because we're not going to be able to get 3 gold for those 2 iron at this point. Harold Bluetooth has completed Notre Dame, and I see an enemy prophet dangling, so wow. Lots to touch on here. Let's see. For Buddhism. That means if we steal this, we can actually use it to plant a holy site. And near as we can tell, we have enough melee in the area, so I'm going to break him off. I know it's headed towards enemy territory, but I don't know that they'll actually capture it. If they do, they definitely won't use it. So let's see if we can borrow it for ourselves. We did get double denounced, so let's go ahead and trade embassies, try to get that repairing right away. In fact, we can just go along and see if everybody has embassies. He hates us so much he might not want to. Harold's always volatile, so I'm not too worried about that. Who else? We know we have
Here,
that.
walks a table.
Embassies there. Embassies there. That's everything. Alright, so moving along. Aberystwyth grows, and you can see we picked up this hill tile. So not only will we... Let's lock in this tile. This city's going to grow a lot better than this one just because of the desert. And this has more river tiles and jungle tiles. This will be a bigger city in the long run. But we still want this city to grow, even though we're having the whole happiness juggle thing I mentioned. And what we can do now is we can see 6 turns until growth, 2 turns until growth. We'll click on that tile again, and so now it's counted as being within Cork's borders. We can just play ping pong with that tile, make sure everybody's getting the most amount of hammers. And there you go. We grow into this tile. Fantastic. What else? GPT to Pocatello, that's probably the exchange, and we addressed that. So yeah, Harold Bluetooth has completed Notre Dame. Now keep in mind, when we attacked Maria, we were basically saying to hell with, you know, diplomatic relations pretty much for the rest of the game. And previously we had kind of said, oh, let's leave Copenhagen to dangle. If they take it, so what? We only stole it in the first place to slow his science down, which we accomplished. And we got no building, so this has just plain been a garbage city. I mean, we're profiting, we're getting money and resources, so it's not like it's a drain on our empire. It's just the cost, the opportunity cost of defending it if it were to be attacked has been so great. That's why we send a trade route trying to incentivize him not to attack us. But we did slow his science way down. We can see here, you know, around the time we were like rivaled and stuff, we basically took him down, and he's been falling to the wayside. So the fact that he had berserkers right around the time that ended, not a big deal, because that was like his berserkers come half an era early, so he's still stuck in the medieval era just like us, probably in the early medieval, which means once we get into gunpowder, like, there'd be no competition really. He's got a number of trebuchets, if I remember correctly. He was favoring siege weapons for whatever reason. So it might be worth attacking him just to get Notre Dame. Just to get Notre Dame. One city just to get Notre Dame. Probably. So that's something we can think about in the future. Let's see here. All of our workers. We got one that's finishing up this turn. Non-important tile. So yeah, we got 2 front war going on. Let's see what else we got to build here. Berlin is done with temples, so on to amphitheater. This brings us closer to our win condition. And then rationalism, which is also good. I'd like to deal with the lesser war first. I do see that he's got 2 units exposed to us. We can bring Mr. Strong in here. This will be attacking across a river, but they appear to be unhappy and outclassed. And we have the flanking bonus. Outside of friendly lands, that's right. Pictish warriors have that advantage as well, so nice. And we'll bring this guy down here for a flanking bonus as we punch that guy. Or just flat out kill him. That's pretty nice. I like that. He was getting chopping. We have this guy here. He was coming down as well, so we'll move him to his furthest extent, -1. So we have the mobility to upgrade him. What else? We had units, all other units that could come over. This looks like it'll probably be short-lived, so I don't even know how much it matters to bring these units over here. But we want to be strong wherever there's conflict. Let's see if he... let's see here. Alright, let's bring this guy over. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, it wouldn't have made a difference anyways. Should have looked at that first. I was just wondering if we'd be able to tribute that guy. Alright, so we'll probably be able to upgrade him in a couple turns. Or maybe 1 if we get some good pillaging in the meantime. Alright, on to the big war. Let's see, we brought him along mostly for Eastern. If she's got any horsemen, they're going to be coming from the east. And we want to free up these 2 hills. So I'll have him come over here. He can vacate. Now these 2 can step up and shoot. And we can finish off with the swordsman, long swordsman. Or in this case, we'll just capture her great merchant with the long swordsman. We're dangled, but that's fine. We need our melee to be a little damaged. so that she won't favor the range. We'll step this up here. For visibility, we see a composite bowman there, so we'll step over here. Even more visibility and out of the range of the composite bowman, so that's pretty good. Move him up there. Move him in like so. And then as far as the great generals, let's move him there to cover him. And we'll keep this one here to cover everybody. We'll move the worker over here in preparation of that tile being pillaged. And this guy can get to work on a farm. 1, 2, 3. Good enough. Alright, Edinburgh has a caravan. What do we have as options? Running that Edinburgh to Hamburg. Okay, that is the most money. Yeah, so we'll do that. As far as the iffy thing goes, I'm a little iffy when it comes to iffy, just because this is a city-state that Maria could buy. Her gold's not doing so great, so maybe not, but nevertheless, we are weak here while we're at war, because if anybody should ally with one of the city-states, we've got a couple allies nearby. It looks like Zanzibar must have just converted. And 1 turn remaining until culture, so they should be our ally next turn. That'll be helpful as far as that trying to stay strong in the background. Alright, so if these guys were going to go like this, farm there, hop over the river, and I believe we get the salt in 1 turn, so he's coming up there. We basically knocked Cork out in no time. Now we're going to knock Aberystwyth out in no time. Connect them up. Okay, next turn. Okay, that warrior's trying to get away along the road. We should be able to address that. Alright, salt is in our borders, so first things first, we're going to improve our tile assignment. And then we will get to work on it. Stepping here does not reveal a barbarian camp, so he can move like so. And he gets started on that. What else we got going on? Monaco desires salt. Wow, okay, so I believe that's culture. Yeah. Well, we're doing in this culture race. Have the lead. Okay, this is a new one, so maybe we have Monaco as an ally eventually. It's going to take a while. What else we got here? Taoism spread to Zanzibar. We knew that was coming. Zanzibar looks elsewhere. That's the culture race. Okay, and our culture rivals at the moment are Maria and the Mayans. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way for us to see who won. So obviously, if it was Maria, we're back in the same boat as far as the possibility. And Anteater wants Taoism, which they're way far away. I mean, we will be able to address that eventually. It's just a question of how badly do we want to hurt Maria. And Truro. Okay, so let's see. Growth in 7, growth in 9, growth in 14. So that's bad, but the science here gets us closer to Caelid Halls, to zoos. On that note, it's worth noting we do have Mosque, Circus, and Coliseum here. That's 5. We can purchase a pagoda. That's 7. We're already at 8. Caelid Halls plus 3. So we're doing fine. But this is the kind of situation I was talking about. Look at our production options. We're kind of out of options, so we'll go with Longswordsman. That's not a problem. We'll go with Settler here. That's not a problem that we got Longswordsman, because we're expanding our overall shared borders with people. Everybody's going to be upset with us because we're attacking everything that moves. So bolstering our military is going to be good at all stages in the game. You just want to make sure it's on your terms, not just because there's nothing better to build. Unless it's in the early game. There's no such thing as too much military there. Well, I guess there is actually, because of the maintenance costs. Anyways, so it would be nice if after 8 turns, if this city had something more useful to build. So we can probably tech into banking here. If we really wanted to keep ourselves in medieval era, we could go here. We could even come here. But we probably want to start getting on banks and Caelid Halls, at least in our older cities. And then as we bolster our science, we can just pick up this stuff for, peanuts. Alright, what else we got going on here? We got farm there, so we'll take the guy out of the workshop. Go a bit quicker. Let's see, what else? The workers. We got a chop there. Okay. 4 turns until border growth. We'll come up here and chop that. Got a farm finishing up here. We're doing that to be available to Dublin. And going back to what I was saying about not having anything useful to produce, this aids in that a little bit, because here obviously we're going to be slowing down our production to speed up our growth. And then we got the deer tile. We'll have the workshop come secularism. So we don't really have to develop too much more in this city. We just wanted to be able to help. Oh, and then I should probably mention the marble versus horses thing. Right now, the 2 gold is probably worth more than the 1 hammer, just because after the aqueduct, the city's not going to have anything to build. We're going to probably just build another longswordsman. It does look like the city, maybe we could put up 1 more farm to pull off of the marble so that we're growing at top right there, but we shall see. Okay, getting on to the lesser war. I want to see what this guy can do. He can basically come here or here, and I think that's the same for this guy, here or here. So let's keep the crossbow a little closer to the chest since it's smaller range. We can move this guy over. The river here is very interesting. We've kind of isolated ourselves here, but we've opened up the option to move about his lands. This is our strong unit. We have 2 ranged. I don't know if longbow from here would be able to reach, say, this tile, but like if he stays here, we can start influencing that. So I have him step up here. He can come and pillage. And notice the difference in promotions between this guy and this guy. It looks like this guy, we must have like started building him while we still had Pictish warriors and then jumped eras. And then it finished production as a pikeman because he doesn't have the Pictish benefits. So what I'll do, since they both have a movement point left, is I'll swap him. That way he's closer to the meat of their city if we want to start playing Pac-Man for gold. Which we very well might. Oh! Yeah, that's the other thing too. We wanted to see about... Hey, it worked. Alright. Okay, I was just noticing our gold total and how nice it would be to be able to upgrade our combo this turn. So he's just going to heal there. Maybe we'll have him hang out over here, be a little strong, create a bit of a border versus if he, just in case, or at the very least keep him near the roads in case Zanzibar jumps off against us. I'm not as worried about Zanzibar as I am Dublin. We're kind of exposed here, but here it's all like wooded and stuff. Although on the other hand, that is a guild city, or will be soon. So we want to keep our growth there going as much as possible. Now, this worker, because we pulled... Here's the other thing about moving the citizens off the land into the universities is now, look at our worker. He really doesn't have anything to do down here anymore. That frees him up for other things if we want him to be able to do other things. So we should be talking about this settler here. Obviously, we have a good amount of workers up here. They're doing good work. In the grand scheme of things, I do think settling over here makes sense. It's a unique luxury, 3 bananas, horses, but also because we have a couple rivers and grassland tiles. If we actually capture this and are able to plant a holy city or a holy site with it, the only grasslands we really have available to us that are not freshwater are in Truro, and in Truro we're using that for food. So this would be a good place to plant that. However, it might be premature because our primary military is dealing with Maria. She has a lot of cities, so we don't know how long we're going to be spending on that. We want to basically gut her potential to rival us. And if we settle over here, we kind of expose ourselves to Carthage. We make ourselves far more accessible to Carthage. So what I was looking at off camera is a city like, say, right here. Very fertile lands. We'd have the deer right away. We'd grow into wine and wheat, so good granary city too. Lots of plains. We can develop a freshwater farm here. Between that and the deer, get going pretty quick. You know, grow into more freshwater tiles. A lot of growth. Not a whole lot of production, but luckily it's all plains, so that'll help. But more importantly, this will tie up the loose end of Copenhagen. And I was thinking this even before I saw that he had Notre Dame, obviously. But I was thinking let's just shore things up, get us more connected to the city. You know, dispel some of the darkness as far as barbarian spawning in the future. Plus, from here, once the city flips to our religion, which would happen almost immediately because of how surrounded it is, it would begin to resonate in our house and Kwapang, which are currently not under any religious influence. Copenhagen is, but slowly that would speed things up. This is even 13 tiles in range of Aberystwyth, so Aberystwyth would also be influencing it. And then once this flipped and we did plant the city, it would be able to influence it as well. Because it's not just about exposing ourselves to Carthage, but it's also about the religious pressure. Like, we're doing a good job, especially if we can capture this, we're doing a good job of squashing the nearest religion. But if we weren't planting, I mean, you can see Villa Nova de Gaia would be influencing this in the opposite direction. So all the pressure we can get. So for the time being, a backfill, technically, I think would be better. Obviously, it's not a unique luxury, and since people hate us, we couldn't trade it for a unique luxury, so that would be a happiness issue, and we are going to be taking over cities, so that's a happiness issue, but nevertheless, I think that makes the most sense moving forward. Because you got to keep in mind, too, the happiness issue, that's temporary. Once Kaled Halls are available, that's going to be disappeared, and then some. And maybe that unhappiness, we don't even get there until we're done warring, so it won't even be an issue. Alright, did we deal with the lesser war this turn? We did. So let's get on to the greater war here. This guy's chasing down this. The AI is not capable of moving and acting same turn, so we don't have to worry about it stepping here and then proselytizing. But if it does just step, I don't think they obey zone of control, but if they do, they're going to be halted here anyways. So maybe there's a chance he picks it up. We got to at least try, and if not, we can start squeezing in here, because that might be around the time that we're done with Porto, heading for Lisbon. That remains to be seen. Anyways, let's get this guy out of the way here. We'll take a look at these two guys here. He's closer to a promotion, so we'll step him up. Shoot there. This guy pillages and finishes him off. He'll get started on the repair. We are favoring to the east, so I'll bring this melee here. And this ranged here. That way, if this guy hangs around, we'll be able to step and shoot if need be. Because keep in mind, we always want to favor the units first. Get the resistance down, take the city, and then push on from there. So we're just going to push in heavy here. I know there's a combo there, but we're kind of overloading. We'll get to the Great Generals last. I like the idea of bringing this guy here. He can still step and hit the city or units that are up here, but he can also step on the hill if we deem that's necessary. So this is like the same as here, only better. Just more utility in general. Great General. And it looks like if we move this Great General in here, or either one of them in here, we'll be influencing everybody. But we don't know how much they're going to need to split off in their various directions. I'm just a little iffy about where to move these guys, because one thing I was noticing off camera is if we were to drop a citadel here, we would be able to pick up a jungle tile and a good number of river tiles without chewing into Almaty's, and that means Cork's future border growth could focus on like jungle tiles. This city could pick up the other river tiles, since this one, Cork's never going to jump the river here. It's going to take forever to do so. So that's something I was looking at as far as Great Generals. So the sooner we can free up one of these Great Generals, and of course since we have this conglomerate of workers here, that would be able to just get everything up to speed real quick like. I'm just wondering if now is the time to back him up or not, because he could back up to here. Well, actually he could move in, he could back up to here. Well, either one of them. Doom, doom, doom. Stop or something. If I'm counting that right. It just might be too soon. So I'm also trying to think of how can we do this in a way that gives us the option. Well, okay. What we can do is step this guy up one, step this guy up one. That way they're both protected. They can both swing in their respective natures, or we can take off. So like, you know, they could end up here next turn. Boom, boom, stop. Alright, that works. Alright, let's see. It's obviously not worth it to go in this cul-de-sac. We can see everything we would except for like these two tiles, which we probably just get from coming down here. So there we go. Alright, so we may need more workers over here. We might need more workers over here. And all of our ancient lands are more or less developed as far as we want. So I'm going to have this guy start heading in one of these directions to kind of pitch in. Maybe he comes help next. Maybe we put up one more farm for Dublin. Since the marble, you know. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, speaking of seeing, let's move our eyes over here and pass a turn. Here's hoping we get that great profit. We do. Nice. And it looks like the units up in the north aren't that big of a problem. Alrighty, let's dish things out here. May purchase with faith. So, in Cork, we got a mosque. In Aberystwyth, we got a mosque. So we're back to pagodas. We wanted Cardiff first, but I believe we already did. And then we would want Berlin next, just because jungle tiles, river tiles, the city's going to be a powerhouse. So that's where we're at now. Next, we'll get into Cork and Aberystwyth, just because they're new cities. We want the borders growing as much as possible. That's our primary motivator right now. Okay, so we'll move this guy here. We see 7 turns till growth, 4 turns to growth, so we pass that tile back to Aberystwyth. It's very rare you get in a situation like this, but the cities were dropped so close together, both chronologically and geographically, that it's an option, so that's nice. Alright, we got gems and horses as options, so we'll take a look at what he'll give us for gems. It only says 1, but we've got multiple allied city-states is the thing. If he's only offering us 3, that means strategic, we're down to 3 for 2, which is unfortunate, but we gotta keep as much money running as possible. We'll go ahead and queue into banking. We're just gonna keep an eye on that. We might change our minds to stay in medieval. Although if we just purchased in with faith, let's see, we'll call that 70, and so in 2 turns we'll have 160. That's 230. We'll have 30 left over. So in 2 turns and in 3 turns, we'll be purchasing. That's 5 turns total, which is the last point in time before we have to choose between one of these and just jump into Renaissance. Or, like I said, we can always pick up the other ones to stay that way. But in terms of useful builds, I think we need to get moving, because we need banks and we need Caelid halls. And if the techs for both are coming online at the same time, that's a bit of a traffic jam. Alright, so we're done chopping in Dublin, who will be building a longswordsman next. Alright, where's the builds? University in Nantes, so growth in 8, 10, 13. That's unfortunate, but here we go. And since we did that, we can come take a look at this here, because we don't want it to be, you know, since it said, well, since I counted it out, and Faith will be buying, or buying in 2 and 3, we need 5 more turns in medieval. So putting people in universities might skip that. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We might just go back and pick up, was that compass or, no, optics. Anyway, so next we'll build the aqueduct. Plenty of time for that. At which point they'll be able to build a Caelid hall or a bank. Alright. That's one of the problems with narrating as you go. So the only worker doing stuff is this one, and I think we might move him more to the front line and repair that first, so we'll come back to that. Want to deal with the lesser war first. Alright, so he has the option of coming in and pillaging a whole bunch. Unfortunately, with this tile occupied, we can't really move either one of these forward and then still get it out of bombard range while continuing to make room for these guys. So what I'll do is I will step him back, because if they're free to go make eyes on the darkness, that would be great. The darkness up here doesn't matter as much because we're going to be moving units in and out of here. So let's see what this does. Hey, we can actually reach it far out. So we'll back this guy up, and now he should be able to finish that off. And now with this guy, we can step in, pillage. So we kind of want this guy to be near the forefront, so in case we start going on a Pac-Man spree. But this is the only tile we can't see, and this would declare war. You know, maybe it's worth declaring war against him. What would be the diplomatic penalty at this point, right? The only problem is having another front war means if this went to Mayans instead of Maria, we increase our risk of that. Because moving him here and pillaging there is safer than here because we can't see what's there. And then our melee could push in together while the ranged whittles up any units that might be there. That's an interesting thought. I wish we had a clearer picture of where the Mayans were. Of course, if we did declare war, all these little blending in icons would suddenly be surrounded in red. They'd be easier to pick up. And of course, our city-states around here would pitch in. Maybe. They didn't pick up the... Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that now. Yay, it's ours. Not going to be able to plant it anytime soon, but nevertheless. Well, once we dropped a citadel to here, I suppose we could buy that, but I don't think that's a good use of a river tile. So, do we declare war against the Mayans or not, just to steal that? I don't know. Alright, let's check relations. Because we were kind of like a runaway bully, everybody's pretty much unified and hating on us. Yeah, their problem is with us. What deals do we have going on with them?
Oh, tech.
Citrus and cocoa. Alright. Horses, iron. So we'd lower our gold per turn, but we would reduce the chance of further religious interference. I mean, we're pretty strong over here. I don't think so. Alright. The only reason to really even consider it is so that this guy has a better, and I don't think that's good enough reason, so let's just stick to the main line here. Okay, so unfortunately this guy's in the backfield, but what we can do is test. He's all used up. I don't know if we can see the city tile from there or not. But if not, I mean, we can step him up, step him onto the hill from there. We definitely would, especially since we're elevated. And who knows, maybe we step here and we're able to reach this tile. I don't know. Don't know what's going to happen here, but we look pretty well covered. So what I can do is move this guy over here, allow him to start heading back there. This guy I want to keep as a front line, but he can come back and get eyes over here. Or maybe these two get eyes over there, I don't know. I want to keep this guy nearby. We'll keep him on the road, just because I'm a little shy about being too exposed with unclaimed city-states right now. Worker... Well, we know he's trying to get through here. We'll go ahead and put in a chop turn. Might as well, right? Otherwise it's a traffic jam. This guy, if we were going to do a farm, he can do it. Edinburgh's border's growing 5. So... yeah, let's have him come over too. I'm really heavily favoring... I'll take a look at it more off camera, but I'm really favoring over there for the time being. Alright, we'll get this guy closer. Okay. Alright, so in a situation like this, we want to look at our ranged first. It looks like if this guy steps here, we can get 2 shots in on that guy, and we only need the 1 shot in here. We know that. So let's do that like so. And then like so. All observing each step of the way that we're within the influence of great generals, which we are. We'll have this guy pillage here. I'm thinking about taking him out with the pikemen. We only get scratched. Alright, we put ourselves in range of that stuff, but he has cover, he doesn't. Plus, if we end this guy up here, now we're antagonizing these. They'll be less likely to stick around because we'll be able to punish them. Alright, so I will go ahead and move him out of the way so that he can be the one to do the killing blow. We'll step here, shoot. We do want to get a great general in there. And it looks like if we move this great general here, we influence everybody even after this attack. I did it this way because now we have 4 melee that are damaged, and we want the city tile to favor melee, and the fact that these guys are extra exposed is actually possibly going to work in our favor. And from this point on, it does look like our efforts are going to be a bit more consolidated. Everybody's just basically going to be shifting to the east as they're able to, because once Porto falls, we're on to Lisbon. So I think now would be a good time to get this great general out of there. That was a horseman for Almaty, or somebody of identical color. Don't know what it's doing way over there, but nevertheless, this is our target area, so this is the way we'll take to get there. Similarly, it's unclear. We're going to have some tiles coming up here, tiles coming up over here, lots of opportunities for workers. So I'll put him on the road. We might actually repair up these grassland tiles. I don't normally do that, but Berlin's going to be a powerhouse, and if we have to start pulling, like right now, okay, we're working 3 heavy production tiles, and we would want to pull them off for the university and for the Musicians Guild. So this city is going to want to have the extra growth potential, even though I don't normally do that. Okay, oh yeah, the worker. We want to favor this tile. It's more to the front line. The fact that he's dangled, technically not a big deal, because if they capture it, we just counterattack and kill a unit. More experience, get the worker right back. None of these tiles are particularly useful to us. We just want to make sure that we can repillage at will, which is why I'd favor the front line tile over the back one. Right, so there we go. I hope you guys are enjoying the series as much as I am. A lot of potential here. Thank you for joining me. Please leave me a like and subscribe if you feel that I have earned it. And I will see you guys in the next part. Take care.